Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. Friends, today I am going to discuss about SIGTRAN, signaling transport. I am going to give a brief description about SIGTRAN, why SIGTRAN is used, how SIGTRAN was introduced, and what are the various layers of SIGTRAN's protocol. So, which is basically known as M3UA, MTP layer 3, level 3 user adaptation layer. So, this is also known as SIGTRAN. So these are the this is overview of the SIGTRAN with the various protocol layers in SIGTRAN. So let's start, friends. So before starting, let's see. I have already uploaded another video related to SS7 here in my channel. So you can view this video to get a better understanding of how SS7 works, what are the various layers of SS7, all this. So friends, let's start today's topic. So let's first understand why the how and why the SIGTRAN was introduced. So before SIGTRAN, it was like PSTN network. SS7 network was like this, where the elements are connected over UN lines, and they used to signaling and media used to flow over UN lines. But with the with the evolvement of IP network, so it was required that the SS7 signaling shall be handled in the IP network as well. So this is where the SIGTRAN was introduced. So what SIGTRAN is doing, SIGTRAN is basically communicating with the SS7 network, and SS7 network signaling data it can send to the IP network. Now whatever we see applications like SMSC application, USSD applications, soft switches which are doing SS7 communication over IP or over SIGTRAN only. So these are the various protocols that are used in IP SS7 to IP communication. M3UA, which is known as SIGTRAN, is one of them. So there are other elements like M2PA, M2UA, and SUA. These are various other protocol used for SS7 communication also. So M3UA I am going to particularly discuss in this video. I will be describing these other protocol, other videos, these topics in other video as well. So let's first understand what are these modules. These are IP based applications. Like we have soft switches, but we don't want to connect a hardware here, but we want to communicate with the SS7 network over IP. So what is the best way of doing this? Like if you want to send an ISUP message to your PSTN network from your soft switch, so you have a C-based soft switch and you want to communicate over SS7. So this you can do over SS7 through IP using M3UA connection signal transfer. So I will be showing all this protocol layers and like SMSC and USSD. So let's see a practical example here. So friends, I have uploaded few more videos related to SMPP here. So this is one real example. So here you can see I have uploaded few more videos related to SMPP. So SMPP is a real example of this. So let's see how it applicable SIGTRAN is applicable here. So in my videos that I have uploaded, so I have shown that an SMPP client can connect to an SMPP server which communicates through SMS gateway to the SMSC server. So here if you see a trace, here it's an M3UA trace. So here you can see that the M3UA connection happens over M3UA connection, the GSM map messages are sent. So here I can see a practical example. So before what is SIGTRAN, before knowing that, let's just understand how the SIGTRAN is implemented. So here is an SMPP client which is communicating to SMPP server, then its SMS gateway, the SMS is delivered to a mobile station. So, but this mobile station it's connected to a mobile tower, and this is connected over SS7 network to an SMSC. So through HLR, VLR, all this, it's connected to an SMSC. So up to this, from here to here, it's SS7 network, but here it's IP network. So these two networks are different. So to communicate to an SS7 network, the SMS gateway needs to communicate over SIGTRAN, because this is an IP based communication and this is SS7 communication. So the signaling part of this is over SS7. So this area is required the SIGTRAN implementation. So here is the practical requirement of SIGTRAN. So here you can see that the STP signal transfer points, MSC, SMSC, MSC, all these connected to SMSC. So SMSC basically connects to an MSC through which is deliver the SMS. But SMSC to MSC, the connection is over SIGTRAN, the IP network. So this is where the SIGTRAN is required. So let's see now what is SIGTRAN. So SIGTRAN basically SIGTRAN is a family of protocols providing reliable data network and SS7 signaling. It uses an IP transport called Stream Control Transmission Protocol. So this is where the SCTP is required. So you have heard about TCP, UDP protocol, socket communication. So here for reliable transport purposes, SCTP is used. This Stream Control Transmission Protocol. So here the socket communication happens over SCTP. So these are the SIGTRAN layers. So basically, SCTP is used here. So this is where the MTP layer 3 is from layer 3 it is implemented. So if I check, this is my this is the typical SS7 layers. So you can see here MTP1, MTP2, MTP3. So MTP1 and 2 is replaced with SCCP and IP network. So basically the old system where the U1s are connected. So MTP layer 1 U1 cable is connected. MTP layer 2 is used for signal establishment. Above MTP3 layer, these protocols are used. So in SIGTRAN, this MTP2 and MTP1 is replaced with the IP network and the SCTP. So this SCTP is taking care of MTP2 layer. So here, so this is MTP2 layer. This is your IP layer. So above that MTP layer 3 is implemented, and above MTP layer 3 there are options like MTP layer 3, you can support ISAP, SCCP, TCAP, MAP, INAP, all these protocols you can support over MTP layer 3. So M3UA or SIGTRAN also supports all these protocol, whatever is supported over MTP3. So the only change is instead of EU1 network, it is converted to IP network. So all SS7 signaling is happening over IP network, and the media flows through the SS7 network only. Like it uses MGCP, Megaco, all these protocol it uses for media purposes when it comes to calling, like ISOP calling or and all this. So let's see what are the various application that SIGTRAN is supporting. SIGTRAN supports various application like once the SS7 network is signaling is connected over SIGTRAN, it can help with the INAP, MAP, and CAMEL protocols. As I can show you here, here is the MAP protocol, INAP, TCAP, and ISAP. So all these protocols it can support. So with ISAP, it can support the callings, then TCAP map, all these map it can use for GSM map and all this. So here also it can support calling over SCCP plus message, SMSs, all this it can support. So, and CAMEL, this is used for billing and intelligence network. IN is connected over backend. So these all are supported by the M3UA or SIGTRAN. So friends, here is the layers. So the protocol layers are like SCTP, then MTP layer 3, which is M3UA, which is also known as MTP level 3 user association. Then above that it can be SCCP or it can be directly ISA based communication. Then on top of that you can write your application. So this is where your application is written. Like your application can be an SMSC gateway, or your application can be an USSD gateway, or any kind of application, or it can be even a soft switch also. So this is where the SIGTRAN is used. So let's understand how these are supported. So there are various associations, as I mentioned. Over SCTP, it supports M2PA, M3UA, and SUA. So above M3UA, you can support ISAP, SSCP, TCAP, and M2PA is little different than M3UA. M3UA basically starts from the MTP layer 3. M2PA starts from the layer 2. So I will be describing this M2PA association later over HTTP in another video. So here is M3UA connection I am talking about. So here M3UA layer basically controls the MTP layer 3, and above that your protocols like ISAP, SSCP, TCAP. On top of that you build your application. So let's see what is the uh, flow of HTTP. So here you have M3UA client and M3UA server. So what is M3UA server and M3UA client? So let's see the first diagram here. So here I have an SMSC, USSD applications of switch. All these are bind to a uh, signaling network like Ss7 network elements like MSC, STP, and all this it is connected. So here SMSC, USSD applications of switch all acts as a client to the MSC or STP where it connects. So over this connection, basically over it first, what is the protocol standard, what are the messages exchanged between these two nodes, this is I am going to describe here. So here ASP is term is the M3UA client, and signaling gateway is the M3UA server. So what happens? It's send a message ASP up, then it gets in first. Before that, the SCTP communication happens between these two nodes. So first SCTP establishment happened. Then over SCTP establishment, it sends these protocol messages like ASP up message, then ASP up acknowledge, then it gets a notification message, then it sends an ASP active or not, then ASP active acknowledge, then the uh, the then the signaling starts. So it's active network, then the data can flow between these two nodes. So I will be giving a complete description of these messages in another video. So I will be uploading another video. This is just an overview just for understanding purposes how the communication happens between M3UA server and the SIGTRAN server and the client. So these messages I will be describing all these messages one by one in next video. So just for understanding purposes, this flow is required to establish an M3UA connection. So these are basically a few terms which are used in M3UA or SIGTRAN. One is the application server, which is known as AS, and another is application server process ASP. So you might have heard about the OPC, DPC, all these terms, key range. When you make an ISUB connection, you have to know the key range. Then you have to know the OPC, DPC if you want to make an M3UA connection. So all these are a logical routing key. This is a logical entity application server is. This node is a logical entity which handles all this to establish a connection. So this protocol level, how this OPC DPC are connected and all this protocol level I will show you in example how these OPC DPC are set to establish a connection. Then it's an application server process, ASP, a process instance of an application server. An application server process serves as an active or backup process. Like this is like a process where we build our application like MGCs, SCPs, HLRs. All these are application server process. Like what I have shown there, like like MSC. Inside MSC, you have HLRs, then MGCs. MGCs are basically media gateways. For like if you establish a ISAP connection, you have to flow the media, instruct the media gateway to flow the media. So these are application servers where application client can send the messages to instruct the server where to flow the media. So these things I will be describing in details in next videos. And here is the association. Association refers to the SCTP association. So between two server and client, the SCTP connection established. This is known as SCTP association. Then another term is IPSP. You will better to know all these terms because these will be coming repeatedly in SIGTRAN communication. So IPSP is a process IP based application, and IPSP is essentially the same as ASP except that it uses M3UA in point-to-point fashion. So when the M3UA is connected back to back, I mean two servers are back to back connected, so there it is called an IP server process, IPSP. So I am showing you all this. So here another important term is the point code. What is point code and why the point code is required? So in SS7, point code is similar to the IP address in IP network. So what happens in IP network, we do establish a socket connection or establish a communication over IP addresses. So similarly in SS7 network, it is known as the point code. It's a there are some point code formattings are there. So based on the point code, the communication happens. So I can show you an example here. Once the see when the SCTP connection happens, it happens over IP. But once the SCTP connection establishes and M3UA layer starts, it happens between two nodes. It's OPC and DPC. These are known as the origination point code and destination point code. So this is no more IP. These are some point code based communication. So between two nodes, it's point code based communication happens. So this is known as OPC DPC. So I will be describing this in details in next few videos. So let's see an example here how the ISA message transport happen between signaling gateway and your STP signal transfer point. So basically what is ISAP message? This I have already described. ISAP is used for establishing signaling, call signaling and media. Basically is operator end protocol. Mostly in operator premise this protocol is used. So you have a signaling gateway and here is your application. So you have developed your application. So ASP is coming here. So here is your signaling endpoint. Here is your signaling gateway. So how the ISAP message transport happen over SIGTRAN? This is what I am demonstrating here with a diagram. So here you see that the ASP is here. This is your application which will communicate to a signaling gateway which is there in the operator premise. So operator give you the IP details, opcode details to you. So here is you build an application which supports the SIGTRAN communication. So basically first it will communicate over SCTP association happens between these two nodes. Then M3UA, you already built your application like M3UA MTP layer 3 over that ISAP is there. So so here the SCTP association happens between this signaling gateway and your application, and this is SIGTRAN communication over IP. So here you have another endpoint which is signaling gateway which is operator end. So these are connected over L1. which is connected over U1 lines. So what signaling gateway does, it converts this L1 signal to a SIGTRAN signal and sends to your application. When your application reverts back with some signal, it converts this to L1 and sends to a signaling endpoint. So this is how the ISAP message transport happened over signaling over SIGTRAN. But here it is different. Here is purely U1 based communication between signaling gateway and your signaling endpoint, uh, operator signaling endpoint, and here is completely IP based communication between your application and the signaling gateway. So this is how the SIGTRAN is used. So here you don't need any device, nothing you require, just you need to do an IP based communication, and even over IP based communication you can do the SS7 signaling. So here is another example. Here this is what is called IPSP. Just I have used this term IPSP. So these are two different nodes, two different SIGTRAN application. So these are communicating with each other, they are connected to back. So here is one SIGTRAN application, another, here you have another SIGTRAN application. So they can communicate to each other over IP. So here this process is known as IPSP. So here is an SCCP association happens. So what is here, M3UA, MTP layer 3, both side it's same only. So here SCCP protocol negotiation happens between these two nodes. So So if you see this same thing in application operator level, how it happens. So at operator level, it's a signaling gateway. So here you have your application. Here is the signaling operator signaling gateway and its signaling endpoint. It can be an STP signal transfer point or signaling endpoint. So this STP communicates over E1 line to the signaling gateway. This is purely SS7 communication over SSCP. Uh, so here also your application supports SSCP. Take an example of SMS delivery, what I mentioned in earlier example. So here your SCCP association happens between over M3UA or SIGTRAN, and it delivers over U1 line to your signaling endpoint or STP. So this is how the signaling. So if you see a real example here, here is an M3UA connection established. So here is an example of how this HTTP connection establishes. So here it's already an SCTP established connection. So it's then it communicate over OPC DPC. So you can see my, if you see my video earlier SMPP video. So here is an example that one submit SM received from the SMPP IP network. Then here I already have an M3UA connection established with the signaling gateway, which is nothing but an HLR. So here SATP association already happened. Then this submit SM, so I got a submit SM from my client. I send a submit SM, okay. Then I have delivered this message to the SS7 network over OPC and DPC communication because my M3UA association is already there. So I sent an map message to by HLR MSC. So via MSC, the message is delivered to the mobile station. So this is how this M3UA happens. So this is IP network, this is SS7 network. So this is how things happening. So here I got a submission from the IP network from my client. Then over HTTP connection, I have sent this to my MSC. HLR through MSC, and it got delivered. SMS is got delivered to the mobile station. So this is one example of M3UA. So let's see another example. I mentioned M2PA connection also. So here is an M2PA connection as example. where I have sent an ISUB data. So I will be describing this in details in another video. So here you can see a M2PA connection already established, and I sent an ISUB message over M2PA connection. So these are IAM, SAM, ANM messages. So you can view this as an example. So I will be describing this in another video details, the protocol level details, how this M2PA connection happens, all the messages that are required. So friends, this is all about SIGTRAN communication and M3UA communications. So I will be uploading more videos related to this in next few videos. So friends, if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like, share this video as well. I have uploaded few more videos. This is my channel. I have uploaded few more videos related to C, then Ss7. You can see more videos like Ss7, then C, then C++. Plus, I have uploaded for a few more videos related to SMPP as well. Plus WebRTC, SMPP. So all protocol level description plus various SIP testing tools, CP testing tool. So all these are there. These are few interesting videos. If you are interested, you can view these videos as well. Thank you friends. Thanks for watching.